Hello everyone and welcome to this ukulele tutorial for Nuvole Bianche, or White Clouds, by the Italian pianist and composer Ludovico Einaudi. So I'm really excited to share this with you guys since it's been a few years now since I made the original arrangement for this piece for the ukulele, to which you can find a link in the description below in case you haven't seen it yet. So this piece is played with a standard ukulele tuning, so G, C, E, A. And let's start by looking a bit at the structure of this piece. So I divided this piece into 8 different parts so that you don't need to learn everything in one go, but you can learn it part by part, which hopefully will be a bit easier. But it's also because it makes the structure of the song a bit clearer. So you start by playing part number 1 and play all the parts through to part number 7. Thereafter there's a short artistic pause before you start playing part number 1 and 2 again, which is the intro of the piece. Thereafter you play part number 6 and 7 again, which you could call the climax or high point of the piece. And finally, part number 8, which is the outro. And for some of the slightly trickier bits, like sliding or muting the strings, for example. In case you're not familiar with these, then I've added additional explanations after each respective part that incorporate these elements. So when you play this part, so when you play this alternative A chord here, then when I strum down the first time, then I try to only hit the 2 middle strings, so C and E. So I play strum down, up, 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 and when I play the next chord, then I've already got my pinky fingers with a fingertip on the 4th string of the E string. But I will now lay down so that it's also on the 4th fret of the A string. So I strum down, and then go back to the original position, up, up. So altogether it will sound like this. Down, up, 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 down, up, up, up. So at the very beginning of part number 4, you do this slide. So to make that a bit easier, the way I do it is that, so you already got your index finger barring the 3rd fret, and then you can put your middle finger down on the 4th fret of the E string, and your ring finger down on the 5th fret of the G string. So when you do the actual slide, you only play the C string, so the 2nd string from the top, and you do it like this. So you keep the relative fingering position, and you slide it up until the index finger reaches the 8th fret. And once you get there, then you strum down, playing all the strings. And then you play the part after that. So when you put this all together, it will sound like this. So at the very beginning of part number 7, then some of the notes are muted. So I'll explain this part in a bit more detail and play it a bit slower. So you start off with one finger on the 11th fret of the A string, one on the 13th fret of the E string, and one on the 12th fret of the C string. And you'll play only these 3 strings at first, and not the top one, so don't touch that one. And the finger pattern that I prefer to use is index finger, ring finger, middle finger. But you can also do middle finger, ring finger, index finger, or whatever finger pattern that you feel the most comfortable with for the chord transitions that come afterwards. So that's up to personal preference, of course. So what you do is you strum it twice. 1, 2, 3. So on 3 you mute it. So it's 1, 2, mute. And when you mute the strings, you essentially just lift your fingers up so that they are not pressing down on the strings, but just lightly touching them so that it makes this sound. So it's 1, 2, 3. And then you move your fingers down to the 10th and 11th fret, and then you strum down once, and mute, and then bar the 8th fret, So with a bit more flow to it, it would sound like this. So 1, 2, mute, 3, mute, 4,